Real change takes place slowly. It happens in first gear, not in overdrive.
That's so good, right? Because we tend to think, oh, something's changing. We need to like push through it and rush through it. When in fact, if we really are honest, any long lasting change has taken time.
It does.
And I even just think, personally, losing 47 pounds didn't happen overnight. And it didn't happen in overdrive because there's no way I could have kept that momentum going. But it was in every small day incremental changes that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
We oftentimes think that we want to have change occur overnight.
Yeah.
Poof, wave a magic wand and everything will have changed to the way we want it to. But really, if we want to have good, solid, real change happening in our life, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. And so that means it's important for us to establish those daily habits, those daily routines that allow us to be able to get to that change and to make that change in our life. And that's where like the real work happens, is in those habits.
Well, and when you think of change, we're coming into a new year, right? So people are planning ahead for what they want in 2024. And we did this in the workshop, the planning workshop, is catching people's expectations on themselves that, okay, I'm writing this down and then I'm expecting it tomorrow.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, wait a minute, right? And it's like, we have a plan, and I love your like planning and going up a mountain, right? Like, you don't get to the top of Everest by jumping there. Well, you could take a helicopter, I'm guessing, right?
And you don't get there by just wandering around.
Yeah.
You've got to have a plan for it, right?
But you've got to do the slow, measured, intentional, I know that's your word this year, intentional steps, like to get there. And so that's just really good for all of us because we coach in business and in life of where are we expecting that there's going to be change happening. Well, hello, it's every new day and now a new year and a new fiscal year and all of this other stuff. So there's going to be change. What are our thoughts about it? And then what are our expectations? And then to your point, what habits and disciplines can we put into place?
Yeah. You alluded to it. We did a business planning workshop recently, and one of the attendees came with a challenge where they needed to hire a new employee. That was their biggest obstacle, and truthfully, it had been hanging on for like months. It had been going on for a while, and when we looked at what the real true obstacle was for that the person that was attending, is it wasn't necessarily the actual function and process of hiring somebody. It was in their own mind how big of an obstacle it was for that change to occur within their business. Because they'd hired somebody in the past, they'd had somebody in that position before, and it hadn't worked out. And so they were concerned about failure, or they were concerned about the change it would have on other people in the organization. But what was so fascinating about working through that in the context of the change that would be occurring was, as we started to talk about what the real true obstacles were and getting them out and down on paper, it wasn't as big as it actually had been made out to in this person's mind. And so the process now can start to move along because they've dealt with understanding this change that has to occur. What steps can I take each and every day in order to be able to get to a point where I can be prepared to hire somebody, I can actually hire somebody, then I can bring them in and onboard them and train them. And when they walk through all of those steps, they slowly got to a point where they realized this is so important to them, they need to implement it. And ultimately, it'll be that next step in their business to take them to a higher growth level for them. Yeah.
Two things come to mind through that is, one, I think as humans, we resist change. We don't like it, and our brain doesn't. Like we have science to prove that our brain likes rinse and repeat. It likes to know what's coming. So when change comes, our brain instantly panics and thinks it's a problem. So we want to rush through it, because the second part is that, like, mentally and emotionally, we're not mature enough to recognize we can handle discomfort. And we do all the time, every day. But when we think of change, we just want to get through it because we have this belief, oh, I don't want to feel discomfort. I don't want to feel uncertainty until, like, we know what that change is totally formulated. And so that would be another kind of nugget for you guys today, is that just recognize any change is coming. It takes two things: a plan and kind expectations on ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then the second one would be to really, really dig deep to go, what is my belief around discomfort in change? Because it's going to be ever present. Yeah. And that was what came from the workshop for this client in particular, was they just recognized going, oh, like, I've done this before. Yeah. I can do this again, and here's the obstacle, and now I know what it is. I can work through this obstacle. Yep. And it was brilliant, right?
So we encourage you today, if there's a change that needs to occur in your life, in your business, or if you're going through a change right now, consider this, that change, real change that you want to actually have happen in your life, occurs slowly. So consider, what are those daily things, those daily habits, those daily steps that you can be taking to implement that change, and it will do wonders in your life to get you to that point.
That's all we got. Have a great day.
Bye for now.